Yesterday was a big and sad day in this country's justice system. We seen Tommy Robinson sentenced to 18 months for something quite laughable, whereas paedophiles, rapists and other violent criminals have either got nothing or have been released onto our streets. Whilst what happened to Tommy is both frustrating and tragic, he is joined by loads of other British patriots who are currently behind bars after the summer riots. Now we have been given a heads up that British patriots are in serious trouble within UK prisons as they have been targeted by Islamic gangs. This is both serious and tragic. In today's video, we will be going into detail, whilst also going over some of the latest news from up and down the country. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and join our fast-growing community. A few months back, England experienced significant unrest, with widespread protests that escalated into riots. Unfortunately, some individuals took the opportunity to loot shops, leading to a chaotic situation. In response, authorities and political leaders ramped up efforts to crack down on everyone involved. This included not just the rioters, but also those who protested, shared videos, or even just watched from the sidelines. Many were arrested, charged, and swiftly brought before judges, resulting in some receiving lengthy prison sentences of 2 to 3 years. It's important to note that not all those arrested engaged in violent behaviour. Now we're facing troubling developments within our prisons. As anticipated, mainstream media outlets like Sky News have pointed out that the situation in prisons is complicated due to their diverse populations. Many facilities house a significant number of individuals from various backgrounds, including a large Islamic community. Understandably, there's concern about how English protesters and rioters will interact with these groups, and reports are emerging of attacks on some prisoners. We even have leaked audio that sheds light on these issues, which some of you may have already heard. Have a listen.
Got put away for the riots, both been put in the same prison, both been put in the same cell. In the last 48 hours, the wing that they put them on was 90% Muslim. Both of them, one's been attacked in the shower, they took the shower heads off, battered him. When he managed to get back to his cell, his other mate had been completely battered as well. The family's obviously distraught and everything. They're making targets of them, as well as like examples of them. They're making targets of the lads. They did some damage to them as well.
This is serious and extremely concerning, though not surprising. I want to address some individuals who seem to take pleasure in this situation. They were almost anticipating it, as many predicted this outcome. It was quite obvious. We currently have a lot of people in prison due to the protests and riots from the summer, and many of them are facing significant challenges. Most of them had no prior criminal records and have never been incarcerated before, which is terrifying enough. On top of that, they will have to navigate their new environment, which may not be welcoming. Speaking of reports, Martin Brunt from Sky News, the crime correspondent, mentioned that these new prisoners should expect a cold reception from certain groups in jail. This comes from mainstream media, and given the close ties between the media and our political leaders, one might expect a response from government officials. Yet there's been silence from ministers like Shabana Mahmood, who oversees our prison system. Interestingly, it wasn't just Martin who made these comments. Roshan Saleh, the editor of 5 Pillars, a somewhat controversial Islamic news website, has also expressed glee over the situation, suggesting that protesters might face a double punishment in prison. This implies that conditions could be quite harsh for them. As for Tommy Robinson, he is currently in Belmarsh Maximum Security Prison. It's important to clarify that his case was civil, not criminal, yet he was still placed in solitary confinement for his safety. This environment can be very bleak, with minimal access to anything other than basic necessities. You can reach Tommy through the information posted on his account on X. His prison number is A2084, and you can use emailprisoner.com to send messages or letters. While you might not be able to call him for a few days until all the numbers are processed, family and friends will be able to connect soon. What are your thoughts on all of this? Let me know in the comments. In some other news, Nigel Farage has made a cast-iron remembrance commitment after a parade in his Clacton constituency was cancelled over a spurious insurance issue. The Reform UK leader, who is a known history buff, last week offered to cover the costs to ensure Walton-on-the-Naze's remembrance. Sunday parade would get the go-ahead. However, Farage confirmed the outstanding insurance issue means Walton-on-the-Naze's parade will remain cancelled ahead of Armistice Day. Speaking in an interview, Farage revealed the parade will return to the Essex seaside town in 2025. He said, "The parade is not going ahead this year. I spoke to the chief executive of Tendring District Council. I've offered, personally, to pay for insurance for the parade, but there's not time this year to make that work. I do have a promise that next year, when the insurances are done for parades, and obviously Clacton itself has one, that Walton will be included, and it'll be paid and insured for by Tendring District Council. I have an absolute cast-iron guarantee that from next year, the Walton Parade will become part of the official civic ceremonies of Tendring District Council." Farage also expressed his wider concern about Essex, holding fewer parades compared to 5 years ago. "I think it's very sad that 5 years ago in Essex, there were 77 parades, and this year there'll be 9, Farage said. "I'm not going to single out Tendring District Council, but I don't quite understand why the Royal British Legion themselves can't do all of this. But that's where we are. Parades are disappearing everywhere for what I think are pretty spurious insurance reasons. We still have wreath laying, but the parade through town and village centres used to be a very, very big part of Remembrance Sunday. They're in steep decline, but I'm pleased to say that Walton next year will reverse that trend." The Royal British Legion's Walton-on-the-Naze branch last week confirmed the town would not hold its parade due to the aforementioned insurance issue. Neil Hayes, of Walton Royal British Legion, said, "Due to circumstances beyond our control, there will be no Remembrance Sunday parade this year due to changes in insurance regarding parades. This decision has not been taken lightly, but for everyone's safety was deemed necessary. Plans are already being looked into to bring the parade back next year." Hayes, who is also a local Reform UK councillor, added, "This does not detract from the main service of remembrance and wreath-laying, which is still going ahead. This year we have a representative from His Majesty the King, the Vice Lord Lieutenant of Essex, laying a wreath." The Royal British Legion claimed the responsibility for remembrance parades lies with the local authority, and urged GB News to approach Tendring District Council about Walton-on-the-Naze's cancelled event. Responding to this year's cancellation, a Royal British Legion spokesman added, "Local remembrance services and parades are civic functions that are attended and supported by the Royal British Legion, and whilst we are happy to be consulted and provide assistance to organisers, the Legion is not responsible for, nor takes any final decisions regarding the delivery of these events. However, Tendring District Council has also claimed remembrance parades do not fall under its remit. Pledging to ensure Walton-on-the-Naze's parade returns next year, Tendring District Council leader Mark Stevenson said, "TDC is proud to champion our veterans and the armed forces. We have signed the Armed Forces Covenant and hold their Employer Recognition Scheme Gold Award, which commits the Council to supporting the forces community, and we have also appointed our own Armed Forces champion. While it is disappointing that the Remembrance Parade will not take place in Walton this year, it should be noted that the service in Walton will still go ahead as planned, to honour all those who have lost their lives in service. We have spoken to the MP for the area, and TDC will do its best to work with Walton's branch of the Royal British Legion, which organises the event, to ensure a parade can go ahead next year." Despite hopes of the parade returning next year, Frinton and Walton Town Councillor Pierre Oxley revealed how the community feels about the 2024 event being axed. He told in the interview, "Everyone is disappointed, and I think the main thing is that everyone works together to deal with the issues going forward. We owe so much to these people, and it's a very emotive subject. If you say to people you can't march to honour the fallen and gave the ultimate sacrifice, it's very emotive. I absolutely get that. The key is that everyone works together, both the Royal British Legion and Tendring Council. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British political content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.